Hey again, this is Jake with Covenant Homes. Back again, and we're going to be wrapping up our insulation series. We're going to be talking about spray foams today, polyurethane spray foams. So, to start, there are two different types of spray foams that we use for insulation. One is closed cell spray foam, and the other is open cell spray foam. You really can't tell much of a difference between the two as far as if you're just looking at them. They are different in density, so if you go and feel them, you can maybe get a grasp of what type you're dealing with. But there on the left, you can see closed cell, the R value per inch is about 3.6 to 7.2, and for open cell, it's 3.0 to 3.9. So, one thing I do want to address right off the top, we as a company and the building science industry at large believe those numbers to be overinflated, if you will. There aren't many energy modelers, architects that are going to put 7.2 in for the value of your insulation, R value per inch, when they're modeling a house. That's just kind of unrealistic. The numbers they're typically using 4.5 to 5.5, so pretty comparable to a lot of the other insulation options on the market. So I would caution anybody out there to believe that you're truly getting a 7.2 R value per inch. And we'll go into our reasons why we say that. So just like the other options, let's start out with uses. We've got stud cavities, joist bays in the attics, pretty much any exterior surface of your house. You can use this product in those areas. Characteristics, so it does have a good R value per inch. Like I was saying, it's variable, and again, we'll get into that. And the main reason why it's variable, it's essentially a science experiment. Vapor open, yes, on the open cell variety, it is vapor open. However, it's very vapor closed on closed cell. Now, these are the main reasons why we don't like to use this product for our projects, for our houses that we're building for our clients. It is oil based, but one of the main problems, it off gases for quite a while. So you can see above in that picture of the installer putting it in. I mean, they are covered to the hilt with basically a hazmat suit. If this was a very healthy product, he would have no use for that suit to wear it. So that's a big concern of ours, is just how healthy is this material for the people that are going to be inside of our houses. Another disadvantage, it may shrink and crack over time. It's very technique sensitive. That goes back to it's essentially a science experiment. And then renovations. If this is being installed at full depth in your wall cavities, renovating or running new wires for outlets or low voltage for, let's say, network cabling, really anything where you're going to be needing to go down through the wall, this is going to become very expensive and destructive. You're essentially going to have to open up the wall to do that. It's not as easy as just running a fish tape down the wall, attaching some string and pulling the wire down. This is very hard and dense. So if it is fully installed in the stud bays, like it should be, we'll show you in an upcoming slide, that will be a problem in the future. So here's what we're talking about. And this is one of the reasons we don't like it. It's very installer dependent. So there on the left, we're going to just assume that this client was paying for full depth of fill in these, it looks like ceiling roof rafters. We're going to assume they're supposed to be getting, or they're paying for full fill. And you can see they're just under 3 inches insufficient of fill. So that can be frustrating as a client. If you're paying for it, the installer doesn't really give you what you're paying for. That can be frustrating. And as a contractor, that can be frustrating as well. because we're going to have to call them back once, twice, however many times it takes to get it right. So to get the um, fulfill, look on the right. So essentially the installer should be overfilling, overspraying every single rafter bay, joist bay, wall cavity. They need to overfill, and then they come back with this flexible saw and they cut it off flat. So that's what should be done, and that's just talking about getting the right depth of fill. All right, let's move on to another issue with it. Shrinking. Foam will shrink and crack over time. Whenever this happens, it results in what's called a thermal bridge. Essentially, there's a void. There's an area where there is no insulation, so heat loss will occur rapidly in that area. All right, and then another reason why we don't like it's a chemical reaction. Going back to high school, college chemistry classes, it is an acid base or a base catalyst reaction. And the questions we have are the mixing rates correct? How long have the base and catalyst been sitting in a warehouse? Are they still good? Are they expired? Are the lines clean? Or what is going through what is the base and catalyst going through to get to the mixing point? Are there contaminants in the lines that will result the end product, or will affect the end product? There's so many ways that this reaction could be suboptimal. So just in that lower portion, this is just kind of getting into mixing rates. How much of the base versus how much of the catalyst is present in the reaction. So again, very technique sensitive. Here's an option that will address the renovation aspect of not being able to put things in your wall afterwards. It's called flash and bat. So essentially, let's say you have a 2x6 exterior wall. You could put about 2 inches of spray foam, and then you could fill the rest up with a bat material, whether that's mineral wool, fiberglass, really whatever product you want. That product that's more toward the interior, you can get a fish tape down it and bring wires and stuff like that down without having to open up the entire wall. That still is a concern of ours, especially if we're using closed cell. In our environment, we do want vapor permeability to the outside and to the inside. So if we're using closed cell, we are not able to do that. Like we were mentioning earlier in this presentation, open cell can get around that, but you still have off-gassing, you still have shrinking, cracking, other things that we don't want in our insulation material. All right, now on to our preference for our environment here in the Texas Panhandle. Basically anything but spray foam. We are not a fan of spray foam. I'm fairly certain that's pretty apparent from this presentation. Anything else besides spray foam, it's just healthier for the people in the home. It's less installer dependent. It's less depending on the chemical reaction. So here's what we'll typically be using. Sub-slab, we will be insulating slab edge, but also sub-slab with either XPS or GPS. Exterior or continuous insulation, not a common practice here, but we will be doing it. Mineral wool is a great product. Wood fiber insulation is excellent for this type of insulation. And in the wall, there's lots of different things we can use, and they all work relatively about the same as far as R value per inch, as well as how they're installed. Fiberglass, mineral wool, dense pack cellulose, they all work wonderfully, and again, they don't have the downsides that spray foam has. Above the ceilings, so we'll probably do loose fill or bats in between ceiling joists if we're not conditioning the attic. However, will be conditioning the attic. In that case, we'll probably be using bats or dense pack between the rafters. All right, so that's it. That wraps up our series on insulation. If y'all have any questions whatsoever, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, or send us an email to info@covenant.homes. And we're going to keep moving right along with our next topic. We're going to talk about some different types of wall assemblies that we will be using on our houses and how they differ from what's currently being done in the market. All right, y'all have a wonderful weekend and enjoy this great weather that is headed our way. Y'all take care.